We are on location in Shelbyville for this episode of City Spotlight. Specifically, we're going to focus in on Lake Shelbyville. Our tour guides today to help us out with what's going on at Lake Shelbyville and what you can check out here are Phil Manhart, Natural Resource Specialist at Lake Shelbyville, Lee Mitchell, Natural Resource Specialist, and Park Ranger Sarah Randall. We will check out some of the popular sites here at Lake Shelbyville. This episode of City Spotlight begins now. City Spotlight is supported by Consolidated Communications. CCI is honored to salute the cities and their leaders in the area, as well as providing TV, internet, and phone service to local homes and businesses. We live where we work and are proud to support the communities we serve. More information available at consolidated.com. And thank you to all of you for joining us for another edition of City Spotlight. We're on location in Shelbyville today. Lake Shelbyville is our backdrop, and to help us out with what there is to do at Lake Shelbyville, we have Phil Manhart, Natural Resource Specialist from Lake Shelbyville. Welcome back to the program, Phil.
Appreciate it. Thank you for coming all out from Charleston to Lake Shelbyville today.
It's a beautiful day, and look forward to seeing all the things that we can, and we're going to talk about it. And
sure.
Phil, we had you on in last summer, I believe, and it's a bit chilly this late March day that we're taping here, but the weather will be warming up, and people will be coming out to Lake Shelbyville to experience the lake and all the activities, events, and we're gonna talk all about that. But before we get into that, Phil, let's talk about briefly why is Lake Shelbyville here in Shelby County?
Sure. Well, let's get a little background history of Lake Shelbyville. Started in 1963, and it was actually filled up and dedicated in 1970. There's 5 main purposes for the lake being built. One was for recreation. Number 2 was for wildlife management. Number 3 was for flood control. Number 4 was for water supply, and the 5th one a lot of people get confused about is for navigation on the lower Kaskaskia River as well as the Mississippi River.
So it achieved many needs and purposes, and so we're talking over 50 years it's been here. And
so in 2020, which is just a few years away, we'll actually be celebrating our 50-year celebration. So stay tuned for things in the future for that.
Okay, grand celebration for that for sure. And it's also very large. Roughly, what's the size? How would you say the size of Lake Shelbyville?
Sure, the lake is 11,100 acres of water, roughly 172 miles of shoreline. We have 8+ boat ramps on the lake. There's 5 or 6 public beaches, on nearly 1,000 campsites around the lake, private and public. So there's a lot of different opportunities and access points for many different recreational opportunities.
Okay, very good. And it doesn't just touch Shelby County, it also touches Moultrie County as well, up to the north near Sullivan. You mentioned last time you were on the show the economic impact that it has. You said that it was roughly about annually an $88 million impact to the region, Central Illinois. We mentioned Shelby and Moultrie counties, so you've kind of talked about what the purpose of Lake Shelbyville is.
Sure.
So let's talk about the different things that people come out here to do, recreational activities. Let's start off with camping, Phil, and there are many campsites for people to come out and camp here at Lake Shelbyville.
Sure. The Corps of Engineers has 5 campgrounds that we manage. The state of Illinois has 2 at Wolf Creek and Eagle Creek, and then also there's quite a few private campgrounds around the lake as well. If you add them all up, you got over 1,000 campsites just on the lake in Shelby, Moultrie County alone. Camping is a very popular activity, especially for families. Friends getting together for whether it's a reunion or just for the weekend or whatever it might be. And with that, camping, they like to utilize the lake as well. So they might bring their boat, they might walk a trail, do some other things along the lines as well. But camping, definitely, if you look at a dynamic of where our folks come from in the local counties, we get quite a few visitors that are coming to our campgrounds locally that utilize the facilities and the location because it's so close to home. They don't have to go very far away from home to enjoy and get away on a vacation. So it's definitely a benefit for them.
And as far as the campers that do come here, you obviously do see the local people that do come out. Where else do people come from? Do people come from other parts of Illinois, outside of Illinois, that come here that you can?
Sure. Actually, it's kind of, some people might be surprised by it, but locally around the lake, you kind of have a region of locals that come in the counties that surround us. Outside that, you almost go up to Kankakee and Chicago areas, the next highest percent of folks, and then over towards the Peoria region as well. So we do get folks that come within 2 to 3 hours away that come to Lake Shelbyville for the weekend, kind of a weekend getaway, week getaway, whatever it might be, a mini vacation.
Okay, I listed about 7 things. I should have stated that a little bit earlier. different things that people do here. So we talked about camping. Let's talk about boating. We obviously have this big body of water behind us. Talk about different marinas, avenues that people can boat on.
Okay, sure. If you are an avid boater, whether you like to water ski, tube, just be on a float boat, you like to fish, a lot of hunters on the lake use boats to access different islands or different parts of the lake. There's 11,000 acres of water. There's a lot of water here, a lot of room for people, and so on a holiday weekend or on just any weekend in the summer, you'll see tons of activities, houseboats, different boats like that. We do have 3 marinas on the lake. We have the Sullivan Marina near Sullivan. We have the Findlay Marina near Findlay, and then we have Lithia Springs Marina, which is just north of Shelbyville a little bit. Those all offer opportunities to rent boats for you to place your boat at a slip, provide all types of services for us here at the lake.
And a little bit later in the program, we'll be at Lithia Springs and check out that marina just to see what that looks like. Continuing with the water theme, we have, as you mentioned, people fish, and there's actually upcoming with the events getting going here with the season warming up. We have a couple of fishing tournaments. What are those like? Those are for the youth.
Okay, yeah. We do have 2 opportunities coming up in the near future. Annually, we do a kids fishing tournament at Possum Creek. We actually do it on a small pond just outside the campground. And that'll be the 3rd weekend in June this year on Father's Day weekend on that Saturday. It's a great opportunity for family and to bring their kids out and enjoy fishing. We're also doing an event at Woods Lake, which is near Sullivan, Illinois. And we're doing a grand opening with that on June 4th, and we're going to have a kids fishing tournament associated with that as well.
I'll mention, we'll talk about Woods Lake opening here in a little bit. It was actually one of my questions for you. Sticking with water-related activities, not right now because it's a little bit cold, but people do come here to swim on the beaches, and I believe I saw that the opening date for that is May 23rd. So talk about people coming here to swim.
Sure. We have 5 public beaches on the lake, and swimming is a huge activity, especially for families and young people. And our beaches we try to maintain as clean as possible, and we have some that are much larger than others. We have 2 beaches that are within our campgrounds at Lithia Springs and Coon Creek. The other beaches are at Wilburn Creek, Sullivan Beach, Dam West in Shelbyville, and then also the state has one at Wolf Creek. So beach activity kind of coincides with picnicking as well. People like to come have a little picnic with the family, utilize the beach for the afternoon. One thing we always point out to people, is if you are bringing little kids with you or you're not a great swimmer, make sure you're swimming with a buddy. Wear your life jacket. We don't have lifeguards at our beaches, so it's always something to do is to make sure you're paying attention to your surroundings and the people you're with.
All right, very good. Moving from water-related activities here, we obviously have a lot of ground for trails. People go hiking, biking. What are some of the trails that people can go on here at Lake Shelbyville?
Sure. One of the trails we have just locally here to Shelbyville is called the General Dacey Trail. There's about 6 or 7 miles of trail that's nice paved wide trail for families pushing a cart, riding their bike, whatever it might be. Those are very, very popular. Trail in the last few years has really boosted economic development in communities around the country, and so trail building has been a huge success here at the lake. The Dacey Trail just extended last year. We extended 7 miles of mountain bike trail as well, where people can get out off the beaten path a little farther if they want to. They can hike that trail, ride their mountain bike out there on that trail as well. We have the Illini Trail, which runs from Lone Point to Eagle Creek State Park, kind of connects the state grounds with the Corps of Engineers. We also have an area up and around Sullivan, Illinois. It's called Camp Canfield. Camp Canfield is very well known throughout the state as one of the best flat mountain bike trails in the state. So it's very well known, very popular.
So 3 trails for people to partake of, and one of them just want to single out the General Dacey Trail, which we've talked about on previous episodes of City Spotlight. That trail also goes into Shelbyville, so it connects the city with the lake. Sure,
it does. It actually comes across Dam West, across the dam, comes through the area we're in, which is Dam East, and eventually ends back up into town, into Shelbyville, and connects the city element with us right here on the property. So,
and you've mentioned the 2 state parks, but you have 2 state parks that are around the lake. Could you talk about those briefly?
So we have Wolf Creek State Park and Eagle Creek State Park, both up in the northern part of Shelby County, just on the edge of Moultrie County there, and a lot of camping. Wolf Creek has a beach. Wolf Creek has an equestrian trail, which we don't have on core property, but that's another trail element out there. Wolf Creek has several trails as well as Eagle Creek as well. So, and they both provide boat ramps, facilities for access to the lake, and all those types of things.
We're out in the open, so people also like to come out and check out wildlife. What are some of the animals that people might see if they're out walking about Lake Shelbyville?
Well, I'd say the thing they're going to see the most maybe would be deer, squirrel, If they're in the evening or the night, they might see raccoons. A lot of birds, a lot of birding in the area, waterfowl. You'll see a lot of geese, depending on the time of year you're here, of course. We do get a few pelicans. In the wintertime, we get a few eagles in the area. So the watchable wildlife has become an increased activity as well around the lake.
And one thing that you briefly mentioned earlier in the segment, people come to hunt. Let's talk about the hunting perspectives that people have when they come here. Well,
Lake Shelbyville fishing and hunting are probably, maybe could be arguably the top activities at the lake. Fishing probably is number one before over hunting. I don't know. I mean, that's like I said, it could be argued. But there is a lot of hunting opportunity. We have a lot of ground that we manage, and as well as the state manages, provide deer hunting, turkey hunting, waterfowl hunting, whatever it might be, whatever your desire is in the state of Illinois, you can find it here and hunt it at Lake Shelbyville.
Now, one thing you mentioned before we started taping was people come here for day use. Would that be talking about the picnic areas that people come and they just come here for the day and they just with their families talk about day use?
So day use is on the increase just because of people don't want to spend all the money to travel overnight a lot of times, different things like that. So they will come to the lake for the day. They'll bring their boat with them. They'll spend the entire day here. They'll go to the beach. They'll have a picnic or whatever it might be. Walk a trail, like we said, go into town, Sullivan, Shelbyville, one of the communities around the area, and have lunch at one of the small cafes or restaurants and things like that. So day use has increased over the years and become much more popular here at the lake.
Okay, so camping, boating, fishing, swimming, hiking, biking, watching wildlife, hunting. Did we get all of it?
It sounds like it's it.
Okay, very good. And you briefly mentioned earlier the opening of Woods Lake, June 4th. That's over by Sullivan. Mm-hmm. Tell us about that location.
That's a 30-acre lake that was basically purchased with the Lake Shelbyville when the Lake Shelbyville was constructed, and we've done a lot of work in that lake over the last couple of years to the point that we actually drained it several years ago, restocked it. We built a handicap pier on it. We've built other docks on it, redone a boat ramp for small boats. So we're going to take June 4th as an opportunity to kind of showcase that lake, that small lake again, get people excited about the opportunity to come there again and start fishing and utilizing the docks or whatever it may be, the boat ramp, and use that lake again.
Okay, so we talked about things that bring people to Lake Shelbyville. Let's talk about something that you wanted to talk a little bit about, which was the family atmosphere, and as well as stressing the safety element.
Sure. No matter who the folks are, our biggest thing is safety here at the lake. We want to make sure the people that come to visit us, whether they're coming for whatever activity we listed, they go home safe. And so we always tell people, especially if you're going to be on or near the water and you have children, watch your children, swim with a buddy, wear your life jacket, all those types of things. We've tried to create a family atmosphere, especially if you're coming to camp. We're not looking for the big party atmosphere, things like that. So we want families to come enjoy their time. We're not saying people aren't going to have a little party and have friends over or anything like that. That's perfectly fine. But we want to make sure that we take care of our people and they go home safely.
You're not the only one here at Lake Shelbyville. There are other rangers that are here. So talk about the staffing that it takes to run a natural resource like a lake.
We have approximately 20 full-time staff. Now, not all those are park rangers, but we have probably a dozen of those folks are park rangers. And we're divided up in our office kind of in 4 different regions or management aspects, if you want to think of it that way. We have a group that takes care of all of our education, our public affairs activities, whether it's working with school groups, special events, social media, those types of aspects. We have a huge volunteer program that they manage here at the lake, where we have a lot of volunteers that come and spend the summer with us working on maintenance, cleaning, mowing, whatever it might be. We have another section office that does mainly works with our patrol. They're like a patrolling rangers. They deal with our safety aspect, our security. They're the guys you'll see out in the campgrounds, making sure everybody's checked in properly, working with our gate attendants, making sure everybody's having a good time as well, but they're doing it safely and legally. Then we have a group of individuals who deal with our environmental stewardship section, and they deal with everything in the outlining areas, all our hunting, our fishing, our food plots, our boundary maintenance work. So they spend a lot of time in those outlining areas of the lake and doing many important things. That's a very important element for lake management. And the fourth one is our facility ground maintenance side, and that's kind of like working for a small city, if you want to. They deal with electric, plumbing, roads, infrastructure, whatever it might be. Sometimes it's break and fix type work. Other times it's new construction or whatever it might be. So and then we have a whole admin staff as well that keeps the engine running. So it's a very dynamic group of folks, and I think the everybody that works here really enjoys what they do. We have an opportunity to get outside and be in nature and providing activities, providing an opportunity for the public to enjoy where we get to work.
Very unique work atmosphere environment that you have here, and as you mentioned, it's like running a small city.
Yeah.
Excellent. And one of the things that you talked about last time you were on was one of your favorite things about your job was the partnerships that you have built. Just curious, I don't want you to single out one thing, but what are some of your favorite points, spots here at Lake Shelbyville that you enjoy the most?
Well, there's a lot, and I hate to rank them, but one thing that I enjoy a lot of is just being outdoors, and whether that is on a trail, being out on the boat, whatever it might be, I really enjoy that aspect of the lake. And going back to partnerships, any way we can find a way to partner with somebody to provide a better opportunity for the public, that's what we're looking for. And we've been able to do that with trails the last several years, with the General Dacey Trail, with the Central Illinois Mountain Bike Association up in Moultrie County, different organizations and groups even outside of this area that have helped us with trail building. And not just that, we work with a group that deals with handicap accessibility, and they've helped us build and install accessible points on our docks at the boat ramps for people that maybe have a hard time getting in and out of their boat. Things like that. So that really brings a lot of joy to our jobs when we see that we can work with somebody else who can also help us provide opportunities for people.
Okay, and we have the lake behind us, but we're right outside the visitor center. So I want to ask you about what kind of a resource is the visitor center for people that come to town looking to do something here at Lake Shelbyville?
Well, I like to say our visitor center is a one-stop shop, but I don't know if it really is, but we're pretty close, I'd say. If you need any information about what's going on at the lake, whether it's activities, events, or how to get somewhere, not even at the lake, but in the area, the visitor center is an excellent location for that. Starting Memorial Day weekend, we'll be open on weekends all the way through Labor Day weekend on Saturday and Sunday. And we actually have volunteers who staff our visitor center on the weekends. And then we have our ranger staff that's around as well on those days. But visitor center has an opportunity. It's got an exhibit hall, a lot of educational, hands-on activities for families. So if it's a rainy day and you're out at Lithia Springs, or you're up at camping up at Wolf Creek or wherever it might be, and it's a rainy day and you want to get out of your tent or out of your camper, you can come down to the visitor center and enjoy a couple hours here at the visitor center and the exhibit hall. We have a small gift shop. People can buy a memento from Lake Shelbyville if they want to. And we work with what's called the Lake Volunteers Association, which is a not-for-profit organization that helps us maintain that visitor center, maintain the gift shop. They provide a lot of opportunities, funding for us to do some of the programs and special events that we can't fund ourselves. So it's been a great asset for us as well.
What are some unique things maybe that people didn't know about the lake? Any like fun little facts, nuggets, anything unique that maybe you'd like to share before we check out this place?
Well, Lake Shelbyville is only one of 3 lakes in the state of Illinois that's managed by the Corps of Engineers. The Corps of Engineers has over 400 projects across the country, and in 2015, Lake Shelbyville was received award of the Project of the Year award out of those over 400 projects across the country. So that shows that we're doing something right, we hope, and it's just a big boost for not only our employees but the economy, for the small towns around us, that drives the economic benefits of our visitors coming to the lake as well. So that's an award that many projects don't ever get, and we were fortunate to receive that award last year.
And I believe you talked about that last time you were on. Very
Yep.
good. A lot of great information about Lake Shelbyville and what it has to offer for not just people in Shelby County, but Central Illinois, and appreciate that, Phil. And let's go take a look at some of the spots at this lake. Where are we going to start first?
We're going to actually go down by the spillway, right below the dam, where we get a very popular place to fish, and we'll go from there.
And we continue our on-location city spotlight here in Shelbyville. We've moved over to the spillway here at Lake Shelbyville, and we're talking now with Lee Mitchell. He's also a natural resource specialist here. Lee, thanks for taking the time to be on City Spotlight.
Absolutely.
And as we talked with Phil Manhart in the previous segment, lots of fishing takes place here at Lake Shelbyville, and we're out here at the spillway, and we've got quite a few people fishing. So talk about fishing here at Lake Shelbyville.
Sure. Fishing is actually one of the most popular activities at Lake Shelbyville. We've got walleye, crappie. Those are probably our 2 biggest that people fish for. Now down here at the spillway, we also have excellent muskellunge fishing, or muskie. State record actually came out of here, almost 40 pounds, and very popular. Now on the lake, the muskie population isn't doing nearly as well as it is in the spillway, but if you want to catch a muskie, the spillway is the place to come.
It's late March, a bit chilly, but things will warm up here as the spring progresses, and we already have a handful of people in and around us, maybe not necessarily all in our camera shot, but how packed does it get here with fishing when the weather gets really nice?
Over the last month or so, it's been almost wall-to-wall fishermen here because we're getting walleye coming up. We had one gentleman catch an 11-pounder about a week and a half ago, and I've seen numerous 6+ pound fish come out of here just within the last few weeks. So this is an excellent time to fish here at Lake Shelbyville.
And driving by, when you're going through going to Shelbyville, you see obviously the spillway, and quite a sight visually. It's a beautiful place to fish. Probably, I'm not a fisherman myself, but quite a place to fish, isn't it?
Absolutely, it's definitely very popular.
Okay, I want to ask you, Lee, about hunting. You said you're a little knowledgeable about that here at Lake Shelbyville. Tell us a little bit about the hunting going on here at Lake Shelbyville.
Sure. Turkey season's coming up here. We are considered a special draw area, so they have to apply for a turkey permit, but turkey season kicks in this weekend with youth season, and then for 5 more weeks we're going to have turkey hunting. In the fall, deer hunting is very popular. It's probably our most popular sport. Again, we're special draw hunt for shotgun, which the shotgun draw is coming up in April. So if somebody would like to hunt Lake Shelbyville for shotgun, they need to apply in April to try and get that tag.
Very good, Lee. Fishing, hunting, lots of things to do at Lake Shelbyville. We're at the spillway, and now we're going to trek over to the east and go to Lithia Springs Marina and find out a little bit about boating at Lake Shelbyville. And we're back on City Spotlight. We've trekked over to the Lithia Springs Marina, and we're going to talk with Sarah Randall, Park Ranger here at Lake Shelbyville. Thank you for joining us on City Spotlight.
Well, thank you for having me.
And we're going to talk a little bit about some of the things going on here. And Sarah, I want to ask you, since we're at this beautiful marina, maybe talk a little bit about the boating that goes on here at Lake Shelbyville.
So there's many opportunities for boating. We have 8 public boat ramps that are concrete for people to use on our facilities. There's 2 boat ramps at the state parks, and we have private boat ramps at the marinas. There's all kinds of opportunities to get out on the lake. We've got rental boats available at 3 marinas. We have Lithia Springs Marina, we have Sullivan Marina, and Finley. So regardless of where you're at on the lake, you have an opportunity to get a boat if you don't own one. You can rent one for the weekend, or you can rent one for the afternoon. There's fishing boats available, all kinds of different opportunities for that. We're pretty strict on water safety here at Lake Shelbyville, so we always encourage the boaters to wear their life jackets. We have life jacket loaner stations that are located at the Corps of Engineers boat ramps. And we also have life jacket loaner stations at our beaches. So it's really important for us to make sure that the water safety message gets out there. Those life jacket loaner stations are available in case people forget their life jackets, and it gives them the opportunity to still be compliant. It's required in Illinois that children under 13 wear their life jackets, so we always want to stress that those are available for people to use. So there's no horsepower limit on Lake Shelbyville, but we do boat patrols regularly, randomly in the summertime to make sure that people are being safe out there. We also have the IDNR conservation police that do boat patrols as well. So there's always someone out there making sure that people are being safe on the water.
So obviously having fun, but stressing the safety as well. Want to just ask you, as the weather gets warmer, what does this place look like in the summer when the weather is really nice? Not that today's not a beautiful day, it's just a little bit chilly being here in late March as we're taping. What does this place look like when the weather is in its peak?
Well, I can tell you, we had a pretty easy time finding a parking space in the parking lot today. That wouldn't be the case in the summertime. All of our marinas stay very busy in the summertime. They are very popular destinations. A lot of people have houseboat slips, or they'll dock their pontoon boats at the marinas. So it's definitely a happening place, and we have 2 restaurants available on the lake, so there's always people dining out on the patios, and just people pretty much everywhere.
And we're at one of the marinas here at Lake Shelbyville. There's multiple marinas here. I want to ask you, Sarah, about a couple of events going on. One here at Lithia Springs, and another Spores and Mores that's going on here 3rd week of April. Can you tell us a little bit about that event, please?
Yes, the Spores and More event is an annual event that's held generally the 3rd weekend in April, but honestly, sometimes that's subject to change just due to the weather and when the mushrooms come up for the year. So they usually try to plan accordingly to when the mushrooms will be available. And this year it actually is Earth Day weekend. So we're expecting a pretty good crowd there. There's a mushroom supper on the Friday evening of that weekend. So they actually will make a big batch of mushroom soup available for members of the public to come out, and it's free of charge. And then the Saturday morning of that weekend, they have a mushroom hunt. So they actually don't tell people the location of the mushroom hunt beforehand. We select that ahead of time and flag out the area, and then they actually haul the people to the event on a bus, and it's kind of secretive, and people get pretty competitive about it. And we have a lot of returning people that hunt every year, and they come back, and we have people from out of the area that will come in to do the mushroom hunt. And then following the hunt, we have an auction that will take place at the Lake Shelbyville Visitor Center, where they actually auction off morels. So that's a pretty unique event for the area. It's definitely one of a kind.
All things mushrooms with Spores and Mores. That's a 2-day event, April 22nd and 23rd. And let's talk about an event going on here at Lithia Springs early part of May.
Okay, so May 5th through the 7th, we actually have free camping available, first come, first serve, at the Lithia Springs Campground, which is a Corps of Engineers campground that we operate. We're just trying to every year switch around from park to park to really showcase the different things that we have going on in the parks. We have every Friday and Saturday, there will be at least one program in each campground that we have here at Lake Shelbyville, and we're always doing new and fun, exciting things, and we just want to get people out to see the new campsite updates that we have. We've really made a lot of improvements to our campsites, a lot more full hookup sites, just based on what the customers want. We're trying to accommodate that. So May 5th through the 7th, definitely anybody that's interested in camping should check that out. And then the 7th, it'll go back to regular reservations and the paid sites. So it's a pretty good opportunity to camp for free at Lake Shelbyville. That doesn't happen every day. So
I see a couple of boaters out here, so lots of different things, recreational activities going on at Lake Shelbyville. We've had a great time here on City Spotlight on location in Shelbyville. Sarah Randall, Park Ranger, thank you for joining us today.
thank you.
Appreciate it. And thank you for all of you for joining us on this latest edition on City Spotlight in Shelbyville. City Spotlight is supported by Consolidated Communications. CCI is honored to salute the cities and their leaders in the area, as well as providing TV, internet, and phone service to local homes and businesses. We live where we work and are proud to support the communities we serve. More information available at consolidated.com.